Joining us now, our good friend Charles Payne. You know him, Making Money with Charles Payne, weekdays 2 to 3 Eastern on Fox Business. Charles, always love having you on. Appreciate your time, my friend. Hope you had a great New Year. I got to get your reaction though to the what you heard from White House spokesperson Jen Psaki just there. That's not really how that works, is it?
I got a couple of economists coming on today because I thought I understood the BLS because, the BLS, I always take out the L. It's mostly BS, the stuff they give us. I never heard this one. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, well, you're not employed. I'm trying to figure this one out. But I got to tell you something. They are bracing for something bad. Right now, I'm looking at 8 firms. These are 8 Wall Street firms, what their estimates are. And these are shocking numbers, by the way. The worst number on here is from PNC Financial Services, 400,000 jobs lost. 400,000 jobs lost. The lowest number is from Bank of America at 150,000. I mean, I was out taking care of my mom for a couple of days because she wasn't feeling well from COVID. I don't see how that translates into 400,000 jobs lost. So I got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. But this White House is something else. They really, really anger me so much because they never give it to us straight. I know Biden is fond of saying, I'm going to give it to you from the shoulder, like one of those old school bare knuckle days, right?
Right.
We have a couple of beers and go outside and give it to each other straight, straight from the shoulder, man to man. But give you Friday, for instance, when a GDP number came out, they posted a chart of the GDP number and Biden versus all the other presidents. The chart was wrong.
Yeah.
They deliberately cheated on the chart. They deliberately did that. And I'm so infuriated. Listen, we have ups and downs as a nation. We have ups and downs as an economy, but this notion of always be closing, always lying, always selling, always, get in front of this, get in front of that. To me, Dana, something is wrong with the employment situation. And no one will talk about that. You and I have. But no one in the White House and none of the media that they call on will ever ask what is wrong. Because I can tell you, going back to January of last year, I interviewed the top economists in America, all of them, every single one of them. These are the ones who come up with all the numbers, all the figures, and they all agreed we were going to have month after month after month 1 million people getting jobs, 1 million. It was just promised. Now, yeah, we have a hiccup of Omicron and those sort of things, but something is not right. We learned today. We had the JOLTS report number out today. So another 10.9 million jobs open. People are quitting in droves still, and there's just a major disconnect.
A major disconnect, and it's really unsettling. We're talking to our friend Charles Payne. It not unsettling, it's terrifying. I was watching this documentary just over the weekend that was getting into the Great Depression and everything, and I don't want to be. I don't want to say the phrase oversensitive. I don't want to be like a Chicken Little and say the sky is falling. However, when I look at the downturn, as you were talking just about the S&P just a little bit ago, I had a little bit of a rebound. I mean, are we headed to, I don't want to say the word market crash because I just don't like those two words together. But where are we in terms of our economy? Are we in something like that now? Are we headed to one? What's happening?
Our economy is definitely slowing down. I think the biggest threat to it right now is the Federal Reserve, which is this beast that we created in 1913. It was designed ostensibly to stop what they call panics. In the 1800s, we had 4 major panics, and they all made the Great Depression look like a tea party.
Yes.
Like a day at the beach. And so they came up with 2 things. We would never call a major economic downturn a panic again. We would call it a depression. And we would create the Federal Reserve, which would smooth out the business cycle, and we'd never even have to worry about it again. Well, obviously, we have. And now this Federal Reserve has created a monster, a beast. They can't unwind it. I'll tell you why. For all the money they printed, there's a direct correlation to what they call the wealth effect, mostly stocks and housing. Our wealth effect right now is 6.5 times our GDP. So it is absolutely remarkable. Yeah, we're the wealthiest nation in the world, but the foundation of it, they control. If they start to remove too much and they start to put too many speed bumps in the way, they can actually crush this thing. So, and there's no guarantee they won't. A week ago, President Biden actually called out Powell by name threw him under the bus. He took no responsibility for all the money, the hundreds of billions that he flooded this economy with that didn't need it, that have played a major role in this inflation situation. So, Powell is under this kind of pressure. That, to be quite frank with you, I'm surprised. The guy could even stand up. It's huge pressure because he does not want to pull the pin.
Yeah.
And yet he's getting a tremendous amount of pressure from the White House. And yet the White House doesn't want him to pull the pin too much either, because it's one thing to have to deal with inflation. It's another thing, to your point, to have to deal with a death spiral that would be a Great Depression.
Yeah. Oh, and that's definitely what we do not want to be. We don't want to get into that. Talking to our friend Charles Payne, Making Money with Charles Payne, you can watch on Fox Business. It seems like there's so many things that this administration could do to right this ship and stop the hemorrhage of joblessness, improve things, at least, to set us on a good course for the long term. They're not doing any of that. We just keep seeing them make decisions that end up making the situation worse. It makes it harder, because a lot of the people that watch your program, and you got people on Wall Street that watch your show, but you got also, millions of average everyday Americans, Charles, that are watching your show. And I know you talk to them about this every day, but it's really hard to be able to do it yourself when you got the government. It feels like working against you. So what can people do at least to kind of, protect themselves right now until maybe we get new leadership, maybe we get a new Congress?
That's a great question. It is absolutely the best question you could have asked, because it's a difficult one to answer, and I'll tell you why. In the last couple of months, we've seen people, individual investors, buy a lot of puts. This is a contract that bets that the market or stock goes down. Yeah. Too many, in fact. So when you have these kind of spikes that we had just from Friday to yesterday, they tend to lose a lot of money. And they were trying to be smart, and they were trying to hedge themselves, and they were trying to bet, or at least give some kind of mitigate any kind of pain to the downside. I just mentioned 6.5 times GDP, our wealth. I have been one to preach, and I say all the time, I'm working on my third book, and I try to be honest with people. The market is rigged in the sense that I see it every day. I'll see a stock that normally trades 1 million shares, trade 3 million shares, and it's up maybe 50 cents. And then the next day, a major firm puts a buy on it, and it's up now 10%. People accumulated the day before. Who knew that? Why? How come it's never investigated? So it's not a level playing field. But I always stress for people listening, you have to be in this market. You have to own these things. You have to. I was just looking at a report yesterday on 4 big names: Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon. And Netflix since 2007 has 32 times it's gone down 10% or more, 32 times. Jeez. And if you would have held on throughout all that crazy wild rides up and down, your collective return would have been 16,000%. 16,000%. So what I'm saying is, it's rigged for the rich folks. You got to be where they are. And that's one of the few ways I think the stock market is the greatest money making machine in history. But it's not easy. They shake people out deliberately all the time. Yeah. They, like these puts I'm talking about, they make people, they tell you can't do it. They scare the hell out of you. What they really want is for you to hand over your cash to them and say, okay, I'm cool. What am I going to make? 8% a year? Okay. If they made 8% in 3 months, when they report their own earnings, if they haven't made 30, 40, 50, 60% trading in this market, their stocks go down. So, they want you to accept the crumbs. It's almost insulting, but they've gotten away with it. It's been a big marketing campaign for 100 years. Like, you were too dumb to do this. As far as everything else is concerned, I've been telling people, listen, get a little bit more cash than normal saved up for right now. I mean, inflation eats away the value of cash. And I'm not talking about sitting on a bunch of cash for the next 30 years in a Folger can. I'm just saying, have a little bit, just have a little bit more cash than you're accustomed to having. But you have to own stuff. And it doesn't have to always be stocks, but you really, really have to own things. Something has to be making money or increasing in value for you while you're asleep.
That is a great bit of advice. Our good friend Charles Payne. Everybody make sure that you check him out. He's got a lot of good information on his show, Making Money with Charles Payne. You can watch on Fox Business. Charles, as always, so appreciate your perspective on this. Thank you, my friend. I'll be enjoying Super Bowl halftime as well with you. Something for us 90s kids.
You're crushing it. Every time, everything that you do, everything you touch, you crush it. I'm a big fan. I'm always watching and cheering you on.
Well, thank you. And likewise to you, my friend. Always enjoy it. Huge fan and appreciate every show. Thank you. Talk to you again soon. Take care.